I was just sharing my delight in being here with all of you and wishing you a wonderful day, if it's the beginning of a day for some of you in California, or continuing of a day, or end of a day. So, so let's see. So, the topic of this week is loving kindness, and one of the there's a lot of emphasis in Buddhism on these emotions, these social emotions that connect us to each other and allow our hearts to be touched by others and maybe to touch the hearts of others. And loving kindness in our tradition is preeminent in those. And but one of the things that's important to appreciate is it's not an obligation to be loving or kind or friendly, but it is very helpful to do so. It is a way of loosening up some of the constrictions and fears and tensions that we carry with us. It's also a byproduct of becoming peaceful. And to think of love and loving kindness, metta, as something that follows becoming free. The freer we become, the more peaceful we become, the more available, the more open and more space there is for our good hearts. And we all have good hearts, I believe. If you just clear enough of what's covering it over. And so Buddhist practice can be so no sound. Let's see. A lot of people saying that there's trouble with YouTube, but I don't know. It seems that it's okay here. So we all have a good heart. So let's sit with our hearts. And if you don't believe you have a good heart, if you don't believe that somehow inside of you there's a source of peace, a source of love even, and kindness, then why don't you just, maybe you can just kind of carry along my confidence that it's in there. And maybe for these next minutes that we're meditating together, at least put aside any idea that it's not there. You don't have to believe that your heart is good at the center, but maybe you can put aside any belief that it's not good, any belief that gets in the way of what I call the good heart. So you don't have to believe it's good, just don't believe it's not good. So taking a meditation posture and maybe you can sway forward and back and side to side, maybe even twist a little bit as a way of kind of just making room for your body to limber up and be a little bit more relaxed and soft, and for you to be connected to your body. And gently close your eyes. And maybe in a gentle way, taking some deep breaths, 3/4 full, feeling a little bit the stretch as you breathe in. And as you breathe in more deeply than usual, when you get to the top of the 3/4 full breath, you might pause for a second, just long enough so it feels a little bit more significant that you're going to exhale. Like it's a relief to exhale. As if you're doing a good thing for yourself to exhale. And then a long, relaxed exhale. Maybe releasing at the end of the exhale. So your exhale continues just a little bit. And if you like, at the end of the exhale, you can also pause for a second or so. Again, so that you don't inhale automatically, but when you allow the inhale to continue, to begin, it just feels like a good thing you're doing for yourself. It is a good thing to be breathing. And then to let your breathing return to normal. And to allow your body to relax. The ways that you have been maybe busy, engaged in life, and you've been holding your body tight and tense, ready to do and go on to the next thing. Relax. Maybe an overactive body. Perhaps you hold yourself defensively against the world, against danger. You're holding fear in your body. And just maybe only as much as you're comfortable with. Maybe you can also relax the fear body, the defensive body. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the belly, and there can be a lot of agitation and tension in the mind, maybe in the area of the brain. See if you can let your mind relax, release. The brain also, the mind also overworks. We overwork it. We require so much of it to do and figure out what's going on. Allowing the mind to relax, rest. And And then bringing the attention to the center of your chest. Maybe the place where your heart is, or your heart center. Feeling maybe any tenderness that might be there, any warmth. Any gentleness, or maybe even vulnerability. And for a couple of minutes, see if you can just allow the feelings that as they are in the heart to be there. And breathe with them. Breathe through them. As if what you're feeling there is allowed to be there, whether it's pleasant or not. A generosity of attention to just feel and sense what's in your heart. And then maybe connected to the heart. Can you find within you the simplest possible goodwill for yourself? The simplest possible friendliness or well-wishing, kind regard of yourself. And to breathe with that. Breathe through it. Holding yourself in a kind regard. Letting go of your thoughts. Letting go of any kind of belief that you're anything less than a good person at the heart. Letting go of any idea, thought, feeling that you're anything less than a good person, at least for these minutes that we're meditating. And to sit quietly with your breathing, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in that space, in that heartfeltness, where we might have freed ourselves for any negative view of ourselves. And if we're not free of it, then see if you can hold that negativity in a kind way. The negativity might need to be held in a wholesome way and not condemned or belittled, just known kindly. Gently letting go of your thinking. Chances are you don't need to think what you're thinking. And instead, breathe with your heart. Breathe. Breathe free of any negative thinking, any negative view of yourself. Just breathe in what's left with the absence of negativity. And then as we come to the end of this sitting, to once again see if you can relax more deeply. Let go of tension in your body. Soften the body. See if you can let go of tension in the mind. Softening the mind. Quieting and letting go of any beliefs that you're anything less than good. And if you can sit here quietly, openly, peacefully, without any idea that you are less than good, you can be confident you have more to offer the world. Then perhaps you can bring a simple, kind regard in your contact with other people. Not dramatic loving kindness, not great acts of generosity and care for others, but a simple, basic human goodwill, kind regard. And may it be that as we come out of this meditation and engage in the world of other people today and tomorrow, may we bring this kind regard with us, so that in our hearts we maybe delight in wishing people well. There's a kind of joy, simplicity, a smile in the heart. May others be happy. May others have smiling hearts. May others relax in safety. May others find ease in a peaceful environment. And may others be free of any belief that they are less than good, at least in the depths of their hearts. And may we believe that under the layers and layers of how people live, that there is goodness in there. There is beauty in each person. And may we contribute to the possibility of letting each person's beauty come forth into this world. So, then we come now to the fifth talk on the Metta Sutta. So I guess on Monday I said there'd be 4 parts, but because of the 5-part week, I divided into 5 parts. And so we come to the last part, and it should be there on the YouTube, description of the YouTube underneath, if you want to read along with me. And also, if you don't, not on YouTube, and you can find this, my translation of this, in the homepage for IMC's website under Reflections from Gil on the bottom right-hand corner there. And but let me read you the last section. So the section before talks about cultivating loving kindness, metta, goodwill, in a boundless way, in an unlimited way. And meaning it's not held in check or restricted by any attachments, any hostility, any greed, any kind of way in which we define and limit ourselves. And there's a kind of openness and freedom within which, or in which, this goodwill, this good heart can kind of radiate. And then it goes on and it says, standing or walking, sitting or lying down, as long as one is alert, may one remain with this recollection, with this perspective. This is called sublime abiding here and now. This is a sublime abiding here and now. So abiding means a way of living, a way of existing. And whether you're sitting quietly in meditation or you're going about your life, there's a sense of that we're kind of resting in a lot of goodness. They're resting in the case of loving kindness, resting in loving kindness, resting in goodwill. And in a sense, it's almost like a disposition. It's almost like a attitude that just comes along with us, as opposed to something we keep practicing. And for it to be that way, then whether we're standing, walking, sitting, or lying down, and whatever we're doing when we're awake during the day, it really is really imperative not to be caught up in our thoughts, not to be ruminating, not to be lost in preoccupations, not to be involved in resentments and annoyances and complaints and everything that's wrong. In particular, not to be caught up and involved with negative self-thinking. And a lot of what Buddhism focuses on is the absence of anything unwholesome in the mind and the heart. So one of the descriptions of the ultimate goal in Buddhism is to be free of greed, hatred, and delusion. And we realize that hatred and delusion and greed are kind of embedded, can be embedded very, very subtly in us. And some people say, well, being free of greed, hate, and delusion is not good enough. We should have a greater goal, like, for example, love. But it's pretty wonderful to be free of greed, hate, and delusion. Greed, hate, and delusion causes a lot of harm to ourselves and others. And just simply be free of these things. So like being free of any negative self-thinking, being free of any hostility towards oneself, any criticalness, and be free of any idea that you're anything less than beautiful. There was a song from I think about 30 years ago that the lyrics went, "How could anyone ever tell you that you're anything less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you that you're less than whole?" Well, some people tell themselves that. And so as a minimum, what we're trying to do in Buddhist practice is to free ourselves from that and have an experience of ourselves without the negative self-thinking. And to somehow feel confident that it's okay to do so, that there's no authority that's hanging over us telling us that we should be, that we're wrong, we're bad, we're somehow less than or unacceptable in some way. And to let go of all this negative self-talk, to let go of all the ideas that more, only if I have more, then I'll be happy. Only if I get more, then I'll have more. Then I'll be happy, then I'll be respected, then people will love me or something. Greed is also a way of limiting this good heart. And so how could anyone ever tell you that you need more to be beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you that you need more in order to be whole? Your wholeness and your beauty doesn't depend on getting more things and having more experiences. It's already here waiting for us. So to rest in that and find that attitude and just trust that and then live that in our lives, to carry it with us, remember it. And so to remember to have a kind regard as we go through the life. So this is kind of what the text is saying. And then it goes on to say, whoever is virtuous, endowed with vision, not taken by views, and having overcome all greed for sensual pleasure. So I'll read the last line later, but virtuous. To be virtuous is, again, to not be caught in the constrictions of unwholesomeness, not to be caught in meanness and hostility towards anyone or greed in relationship to other people. It's living from a very different place than from greed, hatred, and delusion. Endowed with vision, to be quiet enough and still enough or calm enough so we can really see clearly in a way we can't when we're agitated and spinning in thoughts and jumping from one thought to the other and jumping to conclusions. Endowed with vision, to be able to see well what's going on here. And then not taken by views means not to be involved in fixed views, not to be attached to a particular view. There are views, ideas, opinions which have some value, interpretations that have some value, but when we hold on to them tight and insist that we're right and this is the right way, it tends to cause harm to self and others. And Buddhism puts a tremendous emphasis on not holding on to fixed views and being fluid and relaxed and flexible with things, and not insisting always our views has to be hammered into other people. And overcoming all greed for sensual pleasure. So these are very high level of maturity in Buddhist practice. So this is kind of talking about where Buddhist practice is meant to go, to evolve, to drop into, to be virtuous, endowed with vision, not taken by views, and overcoming all greed for sensual pleasures. Sensual pleasures are okay, it's the greed that's the problem. If you do all those things, then you will not, the text goes on, says, one will not be reborn again. And this is a code expression phrase, not being reborn again, for a heart which is liberated. Because a mind that has no clinging, no grasping, no attachment. The theory goes that when you die, the heart won't reach out and grab on and to the next attachment, the next life. And that without that attachment, that greed, we allow what in Buddhism is considered a beautiful thing, a freedom, to be the end result of life. And end of life, we kind of let go into kind of a freedom, not one more grasping. We've done enough grasping in our life, and to come back and grasp more in Buddhism is not considered ideal. I tend to interpret this stuff about rebirth as being how we get born and reborn moment by moment, day by day. And that when we no longer get reborn, this moment way, then we live in freedom. We also live in love, or in goodwill, or in metta. And this is one of the great things about liberation. It really releases and frees up the goodness of the heart, the goodness that we all have, and the goodwill that's there, the compassion that's there, the care we have for our fellow humans and our fellow living beings on this planet. Maybe care even for the planet itself. That we see in the text, in the ancient text teachings of the Buddha, that with liberation comes an easy access to all four of the Brahma Viharas, to metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, to loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. So these things, in a sense, live in us, and they get revealed, they have a chance when we've let go of all the things that get in the way. And some of the things that get in the way is not believing in ourselves, not believing and trusting and valuing the goodness, the good heart that we have. And it seems like other things are so much more important. But I'd like to say that the good heart we have is probably the most important wealth that you have, the most important asset you have. Stay close to it, protect it, allow it to grow. So much goodness, so much wonderfulness comes when the good heart has a breathing room to be part of our lives. And when we lose contact with that good heart, then in a Buddhist perspective, we're impoverished. And no amount of wealth defensiveness and acquisition will ever be enough to fulfill us. We're fulfilled from the inside out when we relax and open and give room, breathing room for our good heart. So the Metta Sutta, the Discourse on Loving Kindness, and so I hope that my spending this week with it is a nice thing. It's a wonderful text, and you might consider memorizing it. It's said in Buddhism that it's one of the protective chants. That if you have these chants and you can say them to yourself, they protect you. And the loving kindness one in particular is that. And probably it protects you most from yourself. And that's probably where we need the most protection. But also, who knows how what kind of wonderful field of goodwill it helps to create when we chant that text. And that maybe it protects us from others as well. So I certainly encourage you to memorize it and recite it to yourself. So thank you, and may you be happy and well, and appreciate yourself. Thank you.